Hello, good morning, and welcome to Shut Up and Sit Down, the board game review show.
We have a very interesting episode for you today, an entire episode based around one board game designer.
Yeah, and what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with a little bit of hero worship,
It's perfectly healthy. Nothing wrong with hero worship.
Fine.
Did you pass the croissant?
Yeah.
Croissant.
Croissant.
Back in episode 5, we reviewed a game called Space Alert by a Czech designer called Vlaada. And in response, the lovely people of Czech Games sent us a whole box full of more games by Vlaada himself. And some other stuff.
We knew what we had to do. We had to put together a special episode dedicated entirely to probably the most dangerously innovative board game designer working out there today. And Vlaada, if you're watching...
Oh, he's not watching though, he has better things to do.
Oh, he might be watching.
I don't know.
Vlaada, if you are watching, we love you,
Vlaada.
How much further, Runemaster Thorn?
Not far, and not a moment too soon either. The Beastman Lord grows in strength every passing day.
But they are no match for us. This evil overlord.
What about him?
Those foolish heroes. Little do they know that I, the Beastman Lord, have them walking straight into my trap.
Sire, I am not worthy to fall asleep in your bushy man.
What do you want?
Sire, it's about the spiked pit, sire.
No, I'm sorry, you've lost me completely. The spiked pit.
They've not passed health and safety, sire. Peter from Inhuman Resources says they're not safe.
Well, of course they're not safe. They're spiked pits.
I know, that's what I said to him.
Well, what does he suggest?
Well, he suggested someone falling into the pit. He's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so safe. There's a barrier, and there's the warning sign.
That is quite
Isn't
safe.
It very good.
Very well.
Oh, sire, I'm not worthy to fall asleep at the dinner table, nibbling upon your sausage, sire.
What?
Dungeon.
Enter, stranger! Dungeon Lords is a game where all the players are overseers of underground labyrinths, and as they construct tunnels and lay traps and recruit monsters, it's their job to try and hold back advancing sanctimonious adventurers, who will come in 2 waves, and after 2 years of building and fighting back the good guys, the most effective dungeon wins.
Right, except this is most definitely a game made in an ex-Soviet bloc country. It imagines running a dungeon is a bit like running a business, and not just any business, a real bureaucratic ball ache. Okay, so you want some monsters for your dungeon, well, you're going to have to feed them and you're going to have to pay them. So you're going to need to send some imps to the village to get food, which means you'll need more money to buy food, which means you'll need to send imps into your tunnels to mine. Do you have enough tunnels? Well, okay, so you have enough imps and you have enough tunnels, but what if turns out you need a foreman for imp to do the additional mining, and then wait, hang on, suddenly you don't have enough imps to get the food to get the monsters into the tavern. Now just off.
Oh no, it makes it sound so boring. Look, at the heart of Dungeon Lords, come out this way. At the heart of Dungeon Lords, forget about your own board, is this. You have 3 minions, 3 workers, and the heart of the game is a worker placement mechanic. First of all, you will pick an order, and that will determine where you place a figure for a reward on the main board. That's worker placement. It could be digging more tunnels for your imps, or it could be getting traps from the trap workshop, or, any of these other 8 things. But the order in which your minions arrive determines what happens in the game. For example, here, look, the first person to arrive at the trap workshop pays a gold, gets a trap. However, if you come second, the imps are so excited about having sold a trap, they give away the next one for free. It pays, in this case, to be a little late.
The whole game is like this. Your turn will either be thrilling with resources flooding in, or it'll be an exercise in frustration based on the timing of your orders and your minions and where you're able to jump various queues, because sometimes it's best to arrive last somewhere, sometimes it's best to arrive first, sometimes even in the middle. The game is, however, sweet enough to have various ridiculous excuses as to why it is the way it is. For example, the last person to arrive at the pub has to pay out of food, but gets first pick of monster. Why is that? Well, it's because the reason they're late to the pub is because they were making a meal. Ah, isn't that sweet? But yeah, in general, this game is one half about managing your own little economy and one half about predicting your opponent's moves.
And one half about awesome.
That's...
Ignore him, he's just a bit grumpy, aren't you? Oh, isn't he grumpy? Who's a grumpy dungeon lord?
Shut up!
Worker placement games are popular as pancakes right now, and it's easy to see why. They have a metronomic pace to them. Everybody gets a turn, everybody gets something, but Dungeon Lords is a bit different, a bit more special, because you pick your orders in secret at the same time, then reveal them. There's an extra tension of seeing whether you've timed everything just right, whether your minion will arrive to get what you really want. If he does, well, you can cackle with glee, or you can kick an imp in frustration when you're a moment too late and you miss the cue. And that's it. You have the tension, the excitement, and the reward, and then you repeat.
Like all worker placement games, Dungeon Lords hinges on this concept of reward. On every turn you'll get stuff, turning your dungeon from a few tunnels into a subterranean whatever it is. But don't forget about these heroes lining up outside, because at the end of the year they'll invade, and the longer you take to defeat them, the more of your tiles they'll purify. Look at this disgusting light streaming down into the earth. Ugh, horrible. But what's even more horrible is that these tiles, once they're cleansed, you can't uncleanse them, and you can never use any of those spaces again.
And there's an interesting fourth currency in the game, as well as labour from your imps, or gold, or food. You also pay for things with evil. Host a vampire in your dungeon, you become more evil. Or perhaps you'd like to keep a ghost. You don't have to feed them, but keeping one makes you more evil. This is very important, because at the end of the year, when these heroes set off, the most powerful ones will always go to the evilest dungeons first. Become too evil, come up to this point on the scale, and you'll attract the all-powerful paladin. And so after a game year of preparation, you find a line of these heroes have appeared outside your dungeon like a row of self-important vegetables. It's now your job to hold them back using a combination of your monsters and your traps, or if you can, actually capture them for extra points. It's fantastic, it's everything you've been preparing for, and it makes the game a mix of preparation and then punishment. In fact,
I don't know, Paul.
What? What don't you know?
I just don't know. I don't know. My main problem with Dungeon Lords is that it's a building game, but I never feel that much pride about what I've built. It's always just some tunnels, a couple of rooms, a few monsters, and a trap. It's not exactly the Temple of Doom, is it?
Hang on, the Temple of Doom was rubbish.
And while the manual has all these cute excuses and wonderful descriptions of monsters and everything, you'll have seen every monster and room and hero that this game has after a single game of Dungeon Lords. What are you going to build this game of Dungeon Lords? Well, probably a couple of tunnels and a room and a trap and a couple of monsters. It's not exciting.
Hang on, no. Okay, so maybe your dungeons will end up being sort of kind of similar, and there is the same routine to the game, but it always gives you so many choices. It keeps you in control.
Okay, look, the thrilling thing... The thrilling thing about this game is building a dungeon. It's about constructing something beautiful under the ground, and yet that's not what you're doing. Most of the game is simply spent wrestling with its rules, its massive manual.
I would agree.
It's as if the bureaucratic tone has leaked into the game too much.
The rules are complex, and there is a combat tutorial in the manual, and there is a first game tutorial, but the rules make sense within the context of the game. And alright, I will admit that a few times you are probably referring to the manual for your first 3 or 4 games or something, but everything makes sense in the context of the game, and it's always giving you choices. It's giving you choices about what to pick, and when the heroes come in and when they're fighting, and you get choices about what to pit against them, and it's a game that always keeps you in control, and that's really good.
A game that keeps you in control. What does that even mean?
It means choices.
Look,
it means that
there are hundreds of games on the market today that offer tricky decisions from beginning to end. As a sort of puzzle, I didn't find Dungeon Lords quite as fun as them, and as a creative exercise, though, it totally let me down.
Have we actually ever disagreed before?
Not on the show, no.
So what do we say?
We say, try before you buy.
Try before you buy, but it's a good game. Maybe not an entry-level game or a game for beginners, but it has slime in, and it has dragons.
Try before you buy. Want a cup of tea?
It has...
oh my god.
Okay, back to work.
Oh, I'm bored.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm browsing Etsy right now. We could play Dungeon Lords if you hadn't been such a kobold about it, but you'll be fine. You won't have boredom in the next 5 minutes.
Son of a gun. Hold on to your hats. Millicent, how's it going? Yeah. No, really. A party? Paul.
What?
We have to go to a party.
No, look, it's getting late and it's overcast. It's probably going to really rain down on us.
Paul, it's fancy dress.
So, I hate fancy dress.
No, you don't. You love
For
it.
rent. And new. 20 lashes in the drain.
I know it's going to be difficult to find a turtle who can do backflips, but by God, if we can, it's going to be the
No, I'm
Oscars.
sorry. I don't want to hear about your screenplay, Quinns. It's a bad idea.
You're such a whiner.
I'm sorry. I've whined about Dungeon Lords 0 times today, by the way. And also, what the hell are you supposed to be?
I'm a ninja.
Come on, let's get this over with.
I need you to be less grumpy, Paul. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's a party. What? Did you just get shot? Board gamers are sometimes stiff, leading us to wonder if rules, lawyers and referees are all games we'll ever see. What we want are more games with smart twists and silly names. Thank God then, Czech Games produce Bunny, Bunny, Moose, Moose.
It's a party game of sorts, in which every player thwarts hunters sporting large bore guns that they will want to outrun. Speed is not the key in this. No, deception is the twist. Mimicking a certain beast will ensure you aren't deceased. Every turn, players rotate. One's the hunter, others bait. While the hunter's verse is read, all the rest, they must instead watch the cards the hunter lays, see what creatures they should play. Players do this posing thus, and their countenance adjust.
Cast away your dignity. To survive, you must be wearing ears or antlers here. Then, perhaps, you're in the clear. But new cards are being dealt by the one who wants your pelt. You must always keep your eye on the features that there lie. Here on this card you will see the best animal to be is a moose with antlers raised, so your pose is reappraised. When they cover up that card with a new one, it gets hard to keep track of what to be, but you must always act quickly.
Since the poem will be stopped when this hunter card is dropped. At that moment, hopefully, you are arrayed suitably. You'll score some points should your pose in some way resemble those, but lose points if it proves true these cards share features with you. Then another player takes the hunter's role, again makes everyone contort and squirm till each player's had 2 turns.
All the points that you will score move your moose or bunny more up this path. If you're ahead, then relax, the last guy's dead. As I'm sure that you can see, it's not obvious what to be. Changing cards make it obtuse. Be a bunny, be a moose, have antlers up, no, point them down, no, have ears that flop around. Reverse values with this card. Yeah, it can be pretty hard.
So they don't get left behind, each hunter's moves are combined with a player of their choosing. Sharing winning, sharing losing. Complicated it is not. Bunnies and moose getting shot. All that there is to this game is some counting and some shame. Don't be put off by the name. We think you should play this game. If you have a sense of fun, then you...
Are you serious?
Wait, hang on, no, I can do
And
this.
you said game twice and now you can't end it?
One as in win a game, that could be good.
Bunny Bunny Moose Moose is another trademark Vlaada Chvátil game in that it offers an experience you will never have had before. In the case of this game, you're playing something easy to learn and hard to master while having fun just posing like an idiot with your friends.
What was that? That wasn't even
It was
poetry.
blank verse, dude. Pentameter, 10 syllables to a line, beep beep, all aboard the school bus.
Fine.
An example that wraps up both of these. By being a moose sticking out your tongue, you become a bunny and vice versa. Another is that if you strike your pose, and you're not categorically a bunny or a moose, you count as a bush. And both your playing pieces go backspaces.
If this game seems too simple or too rough, rule variants make it gentle or more tough. as a family game or drinking game too, we'd recommend...
We definitely recommend it to you. Oh, wow, rubbish attempt at heroic couplers there. Did you go to school?
Okay, shut up, you tool. First of all, I've been shot. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I want to go home. I hope you have some antiseptic.
Why do you have to ruin everything? Grumpy.
I thought that was pretty good poetry for someone who'd just been shot. Good evening, I'm Crispy Basket.
And I'm 12.
And this is Games...
Is Vlaada News.
Vlaada News.
Vlaada News? Yeah. Stay tuned for all the hot Vlaada news and hotter Vlaada gossip, including hands-on previews of upcoming Vlaada games. But first, is this a photograph of Vlaada himself embracing famous American acting person Livingston Tyler? I mean, it could be.
We don't know.
I mean, we don't.
We don't know. We don't know. It could actually be. But one thing remains certain, the breakneck pace of Vlaada's board game development continues, and in this bulletin we have an exclusive, hands-on preview of Mage Knight, yet another new title from Vlaada.
It's exclusive. A game of high fantasy adventure, Mage Knight allows players to trundle their titular mage knight across a randomly generated fantasy landscape in order to battle bevies of burly beasts. Something of a schizophrenic creation, Mage Knight combines deck building with tactical miniatures battles with role-playing elements and can be played competitively, cooperatively, in competitive co-op, in teams, not at all in teams, or completely alone. In order to confirm the rumours that the game even manages to find the time to function as a Ouija board and attract lost spirits, we stayed late at the studio last night and bring you this special report. Hell, what was that?
While the box claims this is a game for 1 to 4 players, there is but one solo campaign in the box, and it's not particularly interesting.
Get some friends! Up next in our series of Vlaada previews, Dungeon Pets, a Dungeon Lord spin-off which internationally acclaimed board game journalist Quintin Smith today angrily admitted was better than Dungeon Lords.
Here he is now.
I've got a short prepared statement
Mr. Smith,
that I'm
is
going
it
to
true
read.
that you can't stomach worker placement games?
You can't harass me like this!
He's going back inside the house.
I need my privacy!
Pets is similar in structure to Lords, with players placing tokens upon a central board to help them with specific tasks relating to their own personal board. In this case, it's the development and raising of dungeon pets, with the hope of selling these for profit to dungeon lords.
Managing your pets isn't easy. Players have to contend with the pets eating them out of house and home, slowly filling their pens with poop, becoming angry and trying to escape, experimenting with magic and gaining horrible mutations, injuring your workers, being asked to be played with, or simply becoming sad and gaining these suffering tokens. They're grey.
Disastrous. Fortunately, many of the dungeon lords that you'll be selling your pets to appreciate monsters that have some form of flaw. So your poop-encrusted dragon or your gloomy golem may find a home after all, if you aren't terrible.
This is certainly one of the most
Pictomania is Vlaada's rival to Pictionary. It is a group drawing game where all the players draw at the same time, whilst also simultaneously trying to guess what everybody else is drawing. A list of possibilities remains at the centre of the table, the challenge being that all the possibilities are so similar.
But is it news?
Okay.
Feeling better? We're gonna go to this party now.
Oh, come on, you're just inviting disaster. Anyway, look at the time, we'd never get there now on the tube, there's no point.
Paul, what if I told you we could build our own transport?
Yeah, are you serious?
I'm totally serious. Get your toolbox.
See you later, cats.
Paul?
Let's roll. Ow!
I'm serious, just shut up.
Galaxy Trucker is my favourite of Vlaada Chvátil's games. In it, you and everybody else around the tables play space traders, bouncing your way around the galaxy, trying to buy and sell space junk for a fast buck. But there's a catch, because you're all such cheap, insolvent, backwards traders that you have to build your trucks out of spare parts that languish in a pile on the middle of the table with one hand. Vlaada has actually really outdone himself this time. Using their chosen hand, players will have to reach into the junkyard of face-down tiles in the centre of the table, grab something and not be allowed to look at what it is until they get it back above their board. It could be an engine or a crew compartment or any of a dozen other things, and then if they're lucky, the connectors allow them to attach it to another part of their ship. And really that's about it. It's just rocket science reimagined as speed building IKEA furniture, because the first player who finishes gets to go first in the turn order and get first pick of whatever interesting things they're going to find in space. Oh dear.
The first and maybe the best thing about Galaxy Trucker is this core concept. Everybody gets it. Most board games you have to explain the theme to people and the rules. It's a game about bananas and this is how you trade your bananas. It's really fun, trust me. No, and then the fun slowly emerges like a fart from a corpse. With Galaxy Trucker, you explain this basic concept and everybody wants to build themselves a Galaxy Truck. Everybody wants to go poodling around the galaxy and making money, and that's fantastic, because then you get to watch these optimistic friends of yours build total, horrible, misshapen disasters held together by groaning components where the crew compartment doors open out into space.
You have to imagine these boards as if they're really covered in glue, and so if you put down a laser like that pointing inwards to your ship where you can never use it, well, you're stuck with it now, and then having to make permanent decision after permanent decision against the clock with all your previous mistakes determining the layout of your ship. Well, it's like your brain has fallen down a spiral staircase that won't end.
By now you're probably getting the entirely correct idea that building your ship is as mean as it is thrilling, but it's also just plain fun. Unless you are playing with proper lindles, you're going to hear screams and squeals of joy and frustration as you guys build your ships, as you will search for that one component you desperately need. But what's twice as fun as this is when you're finished and you get to make fun of your opponent's rides. Look, here are a couple of ships we made earlier.
That's good.
Paul, what the hell is this?
It's fine.
Why
it's
is there so much dead space?
everything connects legally. There's armor there, which is good.
On the back, which is where you want armor, on the back of your ship. What?
Shut up.
Where are the lasers pointing, forward? So you can shoot things, coming towards you, as opposed to all those things that come from the right. And then you've got one engine firing there on the left of your ship.
It's got an engine, and it'll go that way. And the cargo will, because there are enough. There's armor.
And there's 6 crewmen. I can see that you needed 6 men to man, the 3 lasers.
And the armor, they control.
I like this, that the cargo bay at the front of the nose of the ship. So, if you've got some cargo and then a asteroid or something.
Alright then, let's see what you've built.
Alright.
So you've got an alien engineer.
Yep, we've got an alien engineer. We've got lots of engines, and this is laser cannons, my friends. It's a compressed core, so things will miss me. Asteroids and stuff.
All right. Well, first of all, you can't do this because the engines are firing into this. You see. And so you have to get rid of it, and probably everything that's
well, that's a minor problem
attached
because that was actually
that's gone.
That part
now.
That part was unnecessary. Is the thing. I built that to the top.
Quins, you don't have any batteries for any of your lasers or engines, so none of them will ever work.
Like The Resistance, Galaxy Truck is one of those games that gets everybody laughing before you've even started playing, which is fantastic. But if you think this game is a farce already, wait until the lot of you hit the road! So what can happen to you in space?
What can happen?
What? In space?
Yeah. Anything. Everything.
Let me tell you, space
forever.
Always.
Well, as you make your journey through space, you can pass nearby planets and pick up cargo. Fantastic. Add it to your hold. You can raid nearby space junkyards for cash and for extra components, but a lot of the time you'll just want to keep your ship in one piece as you're bounced around by meteor swarms like a billiard ball, or you're detoured through combat zones, or once again pirates attack you. You see, the thing with this fragile ship that you've spent so long constructing is because it's made of so many individual components, all of those can start falling off again.
Let's say you're flying through a meteoric swarm. The leader of the convoy will take the dice and roll for each individual asteroid. Okay, the first one hits column 10. Okay, no, you're alright, but you're starting to sweat. The leader rolls for the second asteroid. 6. You're okay.
No!
But you hear a strange noise. Because that guy over there flying with you, he's not having such a good time.
That's just taken out my engines and it severed my ship in half, and now I have to decide whether I'm going to keep this half of the ship or if I want to keep my cargo, which is now in this other half engineless section of over-engineered nonsense floating through space. You see, everyone's laughing because really all this could happen to them too. They're laughing to relieve the tension because they will be next. Oh God.
But this is vital. Unlike some board games, which can be a jerk to you specifically and leave you in a bad mood and grumpy for the rest of the evening or year, in Galaxy Trucker you don't really stay angry at the game. If some rogue shot comes along and knocks away the sole engine that is left on your ship, you don't get mad because you were the one who chose to put that engine there, and you're also the only person who chose to have one engine.
So is Galaxy Trucker just a game of laughter and terrible tension?
Well, this is the thing. Galaxy Trucker manages the incredible feat of being 100% appealing to groups that both just want to have a laugh and get drunk and make fun of each other, and also appealing to groups that want to treat this as a hardcore challenge to be mastered. I mean, look here. As you're building your ship, the cards that you're going to encounter on your run are actually laid out on this board in front of you, and using that same one hand you build with, you can look at them and realize, oh, okay, we've got slavers and pirates, and I'm going to need lots of lasers for this run. But you're going to have to make those changes to your ship in the reduced amount of time you've just given yourself.
You know, I have feelings for this game, some strong feelings. I think, like Space Alert, it actually redefines something of what we can expect from a board game to do. It's so exciting, and yet it also, unlike many other board games, has a great sense of pace to it. It has 3 rounds. In the first round, you'll have these tiny little ships, a simple jaunt through space as well, and then in the next round, well, your ship will get a little bigger, a little more complex, and things will get a tiny bit tougher. And then in the third round, you get to build this mother and probably watch it get utterly trashed. Look at the size of that thing. Looks kind of familiar.
It doesn't look like anything to me.
No, it doesn't. No.
I'm absolutely with Paul here. I have feelings.
For change.
He's such a... I have feelings for this game too. It is smart in the best possible way. It's as inventive as it is funny, as it is an interesting challenge, as it is effortless to play. It's easier to play Galaxy Trucker than it is to play games with half the rules. And where Space Alert is actually quite emotionally draining in its inventive and rule-sodden challenge, Galaxy Trucker it's just a bumpy ride. If you think you've spent enough money on board games this month, think again, because this is just a lovely little orphan game and it deserves a place in your home. It's absolutely the best game we've looked at this episode.
Come on, shouldn't we talk about the expansion too?
Oh yeah, go on then.
Yeah, Galaxy Trucker has an expansion called The Big Expansion.
Why is it called The Big Expansion?
I don't know, but I do know it's absolutely packed with extra stuff. Fantastic additions, including new cards, new encounters, new ship classes, a whole bunch of new components, cards you can play to screw over the other people in the convoy. And if you think the game's getting too easy, there are special Rough Rider cards, which make the game even tougher, or just give you more horribly hilarious happenings in space if you want that kind of thing. Overall, it's kind of a no-brainer. You want it. You don't need it, but you want it. Although maybe not for your first game, so you can put off getting it for at least an hour.
Yeah. It makes a good noise too. Should I get some more? Oh yeah! It's not as good because all the bits are on the table. Ooh,
Right.
We're on a roll.
That went well, didn't it?
Let's move on to the next review.
Yeah, alright then. Well, the next review, Settlers of Catan, is a trading and building game for
Ooh, whoa. Vlaada didn't build this. It was designed by Klaus Tuber?
What?
Klaus Tuber. Oh man, let's yeah. Well, I've been thinking, we don't need to go to some stupid party across town. We can have our own party right here in the flat.
Really? Do you mean it?
I mean it. A Vlaada Ciabatta party.
Well, that's a great idea. Who are you going to come as?
Vlaada Chvátil, probably.
I was thinking, yeah, I might actually come as Vlaada Chvátil as well. If you don't mind, I've written a song that might actually be kind of appropriate for this evening.
Really?
Yeah.
A song?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Okay, you get the guitar. I want to do a final thought in the bathroom.
You want to do what in the bathroom?
Hey there. I just wanted to say that this episode with the shrine and everything is not as much of a joke as you might think. Vlaada Chvátil is absolutely Shut Up and Sit Down's favourite board game designer, and here's why. At the heart of this hobby, really, is just sitting down and spending time with people you care about. That's it. So it's all well and good when board game designers offer a game of your favourite intellectual property, or offer a challenge so rich and so complex that after 1,000 games, you'll still be learning. But it forgets that really, we just want to have a good time with our friends and family. Vlaada doesn't forget that. His games are designed from their manuals to their disaster-prone action to make you laugh together. And his games are so unique and have you doing such strange things that you will never forget this time you're spending with your loved ones. And it's absolutely, unironically, something worth worshipping. Okay, thanks for watching another episode of Shut Up and Sit Down, everybody.
Yeah. What have you brought with you?
So that's that. And then I've also got my melodeon.
Is that to sort of inflate it? Here's our song about Vlaada.
Here we go.
And you're gonna sing as well, aren't you? Because I can't sing and play.
There's some spit. Okay, what you want? Wait, I'm singing. Okay, I can sing. What are the words? Vlaada.
It's called Token of Love.
Token of your love. Can we sing that rather than your song?
If you want to harmonise on the.
What are the chords now?
Well, they're the same chords as before.
I don't understand.
All right, we'll start with the pre-chorus.
Okay.
And that's where you've got to sing and blow at the same time.
Okay.
About worker placement and where you want to place your workers.
Got it. Workers! Don't know where to put those workers, just not this turn. Not any turn. Here we go. Oh yeah.